Welcome to the Positive Pants Podcast. Mindset, motivation and inspiration to help you find your positive pants. It's time to let go of negative thinking, understand why you do what you do and stop the self-sabotage with your host, Fran Excel.
Welcome to the show. As always, it's Fran Excel, your resident subconscious success mentor, helping you find your very own pair of positive pants so you can get out of your own way and live a life that you love. If you want to stop self-sabotaging your own success and let go of the stress, then you are in the right place, my friend. Make sure you download your free Stressed to Success guided meditation at bit.ly/stress to success as my little gift to you just for being here. Please do subscribe, share and review. It really, really helps people that need to hear this message find us, and I so appreciate it. In the show notes, you'll also find details of how you can work with me and where you can get your mitts on my meditations, products, printables, programs. You can find it through the link in my bio on Instagram, which is my favorite place to hang out. So please do come join me over there at I'm Fran Excel. Tag me in your takeaways, slide into my DMs. I'm here for it. So that's the formalities over, my love. So let's jump to the content. What is mental fitness? I was listening to a podcast with Simon Sinek recently where he was talking about preferring the term mental fitness to mental health or mental illness. And I'm so in agreement. I think I've used it before a few times. So much work still needs to be done and so much still needs to change when it comes to the stigma attached to working on yourself and struggling for any period of time, emotionally or mentally. The idea that there is something wrong with you or fundamentally flawed or broken for experiencing things that are simply part of the human experience. For having a bad day, a bad week, a bad month, struggling when something is going on in your life where it would be absolutely making sense for you to struggle, feel pain or challenging emotions. Having what people may call negative emotions. Judging ourselves for experiencing anxiety, which at its core is our human alarm system and trying to alert us that something needs our attention. Managing reactivity and triggers or not being totally happy with where you're at. There is nothing wrong with you. We simply haven't been taught how to handle being a human a lot of the time. This is why I'm so passionate about helping people shift the way that they think about things, fundamentally shifting the lens that you look at life and yourself through. And there is no one size fits all, right? It's understanding why you do the things that you do or feel what you feel, but without the judgment. It's the judgment piled on top of the emotions that makes everything feel so much worse. The focus on concerns over being judged by other people, as if you need to hide something, that it's bad or you're bad if you experience it. We're taught it's not okay to not be okay, right? But also, let's be honest, the judgment from yourself is usually way worse. So we work a lot of us, on our health and fitness when we realize it's important to having a happy, long, healthy life, right? We might be more conscious of what we eat, move our bodies, exercise, and hopefully in a sustainable way. That's something we can easily incorporate into our day-to-day lives, and we can create sustainable habits. Not all or nothing. Not beating ourselves into submission from the perspective of not being good enough. But either way, we're praised for healthy choices, right? When it comes to our physical health and fitness. Even when sometimes it's to the detriment of other things, right? Like we're complimented for weight loss. The person doesn't know if that's come through disordered eating, as an example. We're seen as better in some way because we're looking after ourselves. So why doesn't the same thing apply to our mental health and fitness? And I do believe it's starting to. But the important shift is how we look at it on an individual level. Society will catch up. You need to start with the question, what does mental fitness look like to you? Is it clear thinking and decision making? Is it the ability to not beat yourself up for getting something wrong or for having a down day? Is it deciding to do what's right for you in the moment in spite of self-sabotage? Mental fitness to me are the things that you consciously do that you know are good for you. Yeah? And the ways that you consciously think that you know are good for you and more truthful than what tends to just pop into our head, right? It's actually utilizing the knowledge that you can retrain and rewire your brain and that it will feel hard and clunky at first, but the effort pays off. It's the ability to allow yourself a human moment and understand why it's there without the judgment. What could it look like if you were consciously improving your mental fitness as well as your physical? Like, what if you treated those as the same thing? You know, watching what you eat versus watching what you feed your brain. Moving your body for an increase in muscle mass versus moving your body to move stagnant energy and emotions through you and benefiting from all those lovely endorphins. Diet culture is for the most part inherently toxic, right? And unfortunately, the mental health space can be too. And this is another reason I like to think of it as mental fitness. Because when you're working on your fitness levels specifically, not necessarily weight or anything like that, but when you're working on your fitness levels specifically, it's not always just for aesthetic reasons, right? It's not as much extrinsic than it is intrinsic. You're doing it for different reasons than trying to lose weight. And that's the way that I choose to think of it anyway. You're doing it for all the other benefits, for the way that you'll feel. And when I started working out, I was doing it to have a better quality of life, right? To aid the health of my rickety arthritic knees, to feel better, to know that my internal organs are healthier, to sleep better. Now, I've lost 1.5 stone, but as a nice side effect, it wasn't my explicit goal. My goal was to be able to walk for longer than 30 minutes without having to pay for it for 3 days. And I'm now up to 2.5 hours and then only having to pay for it for about an hour afterwards. Do you see the difference? Because it hasn't felt hard at all. I haven't beaten myself up at any step of the way. And diet culture comes from a place of you not being acceptable or good enough as you are. That you have to look a certain way to be accepted and acceptable. And the mental health space can do absolutely the same, which is so counterintuitive. It can make you feel like if you're not meditating for an hour, journaling for another hour, doing breath work for 30 minutes, taking a cold plunge, doing yoga, getting out in nature, reading nonfiction for an hour, reading fiction for an hour, visualizing heart math every single day. And then if you're not, then you're doing it wrong. And hey presto, guess what? You're not good enough. These concepts, all of them in and of themselves, are all great things. Mindfulness, meditation, yoga, breathwork, all of them. They really, really are. I talk about all of them a lot, but not about doing them at the expense of your life. And in all honesty, as ironic as I know it sounds, not at the expense of your mental health, right? And not as a tool to beat yourself up with. Sounds exhausting, right? Trying to do all of that. Sounds like a full-time job in and of itself. And the bottom line is scientific studies have been proven to show that even just a few minutes of a lot of these things is actually incredibly beneficial for your health, for your nervous system, for your well-being, for the quality of your thoughts, which is affected by your nervous system. So to me, flipping that switch to working on your mental fitness involves a discernment to be able to know and do what's best and right for you. I say it a lot and I will say it till the cows come home. You have to find what's right for you. And you have to meet yourself where you're at right now. All of those things I don't do all of them all the time. By any stretch of the imagination. I'll go through phases where meditation is feeling better to me than mindfulness, or vice versa, whatever it might be. It's finding that consistency for where you're at right now and understanding, do you know what? I don't feel like journaling today. Today I feel like doing heart math. That is good. Yeah? Meet yourself where you're at right now. And sometimes that's the ability to be able to say, actually, I need to do nothing right now. But no, it's from a place of being what you need and not some form of self-sabotage to reinforce negative feelings about yourself. That is mental fitness. Mental fitness is the consciousness to listen to your mind and body and do what you need, which will sometimes be the last thing that you want to do. The irony. For example, you're having a bad day and you're really in a funk. You're really feeling a lot of emotions. You don't want to talk to anyone. You want to isolate yourself. You don't want to do anything. You don't want to leave the house. You know that's not making you feel any better. If anything, it's making you feel worse. So you can listen to the part of you that wants to stay there, knowing that it's likely to make things worse. Or you can consciously question why you might want to and what could be better for you and what you might need in that moment. And then you manage to get yourself in the shower, you go for a 15-minute walk, you maybe even message a friend saying, hey, I could use a little support right now, can you talk? Mental fitness is understanding you have choices and what they are. It's knowing you're good enough and you're worthy, even when you're experiencing big emotions or having a bad day. It's categorically not about not having challenging and painful times, negative emotions, negative thoughts and feelings. It's knowing you have the capacity to handle them and that they are temporary. It's resilience. So how do you want to work on your mental fitness today? Not what are you going to tell yourself that you have to do every single day for 100 days or else you're a failure. What are you going to do to meet yourself where you're at right now? What could fit easily into your day and into your life? How are you going to choose to consciously shift your thinking today? And you'll find the more that you do these things and the more that you think this way, the less reactive you are, the more quiet it becomes in your own head, the more positive emotions you're able to identify, that the negative emotions hang around a lot less time, the more confidence you feel. Remember, we're all just walking around following the path of least resistance, the thing that we've rehearsed the most in our brain, which is often not great for us, but kept us safe at one point in time. This is absolutely changeable. And over time, we totally shift and create new paths of least resistance, new autopilots that serve us much better. And I guarantee you're already doing way better than you think. So if you got value from this and you know in your gut that now is the time to step up and start rewiring your thinking and start changing things for yourself, then join the Positive Pants Toolkit app and community so you can work out what needs to happen to get you from where you're at right now to the action-taking success you know you can be. And if you want my eyes and ears on your problems, then I work with people one-on-one and through my programs. You can find all the details to join the toolkit or book in a call in the show notes, the link in my bio on Instagram, and on my website, franexcel.com. So stop waiting for if and when and choose to change things now because you can. I'm here to believe in you when you don't believe in yourself. And as always, I hope you found this helpful and I'll see you next week. Bye.